Today in the Insight slot, we have Keith Blakemore-Noble from Keith Blakemore-Noble Limited. And he holds our life coach seat. Take it away, Mr. Keith.
Thank you very much, Joe. What makes you who you are, and can you really change? That's what I thought we'd explore in this 10 minutes. To answer the first question, we need to go right back to the very beginning, or your very beginning. When you were born, you were a complete blank slate. You knew nothing, you feared nothing, you were a complete blank slate. In fact, many of us even need to have a little helping hand in order to start to breathe. That's how little we know when we're born. So from that complete blank slate to now, everything you are now, everything you think, say, do now, is a result of everything you've learned over your entire lifetime. And much of what forms who we are, we learn in our first 7 or so years of life. You see, for the first few years, neurologically speaking, we're like a sponge. We absorb absolutely everything unquestioningly. Once we reach about the age of 7, we develop these filters, for want of a better word, that take all of the information that's coming in. We're bombarded with millions of pieces of information all the time from all of our 15 to 20 senses. Yes, there are more than 5 senses, but that's a topic for another day. But when bombarded with all of this information, most of it's not relevant to us. So we have these filters which sift through and find the things which are relevant to us and bring that to our attention, bring that to our awareness. And these filters develop over time. We first get them, or first start using them from about the age of 7. So before that, we absorb everything unquestioningly. So how do we learn? 3 different ways in which we learn. We learn by being taught, we learn by observation, and we learn through experience, especially in those first few years, formative years that create who we are, or that create the framework for who we are. So we learn by being taught. People tell us things, and especially when we're young, we accept it unquestioningly. 4 words which I am prepared to bet you have been told probably many times when you were really young. Don't talk to strangers. We've all been told that, and it's absolutely life-saving advice when we're young. Here's the thing. When were you last told, you know what, you're big enough, you're old enough, you know how to look after yourself. It's okay to talk to strangers. In fact, it's a good thing to talk to strangers. We very rarely get told that. And often when we're told, don't talk to strangers, the fear that's instilled behind it is so strong, it becomes a part of who we are. Is it any wonder so many adults are scared of speaking with strangers? We also learn by observation. We see people do things. We figure that's what you do. If you see a parent freak out every time they see a spider, very quickly your mind goes, okay, I get it. That's what we do. We see the 8-legged thing. We freak out. Got it. Hey, congratulations. You just learned how to be acrophobic. There's a reason why years ago there was a big campaign to encourage parents to not smoke in front of their children, precisely because their children will pick up the habits. We absorb all of this stuff. And we also learn through experience. We do something, something happens, we decide that means something. Doesn't necessarily mean that. Nothing has any absolute meaning, but we decide it means it. For example, we might ask someone we like to come to our party, and they might laugh at us, and we might decide that means nobody's ever going to want to come to a party with me. I guess I just won't bother asking anyone. Or we might just decide something even worse. Doesn't mean that, but we're always doing the best we can with what we have. But we learn all of these things, particularly in our first few years, that creates all of these filters. These filters are important because they are what sifts what's going on in the world. It has been said we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. We're sorting through all of these filters because there's so much stuff coming in. We can only pay attention to particular relevant things. These filters filter it all out. So what are these filters? Well, we've got things like values, things which are important to us. If something's important, it's more likely to filter through. If something is of low importance, it's not likely to filter through. So, for example, if if money is something that's important to you, you'll see more opportunities for finance. You'll see more ways to protect your finance. If money is low in your list of values, easy come, easy go, and it probably reflects in your bank balance. We've also got things like our beliefs. I'm not talking religious or spiritual. I'm talking about just things that we hold to be true. If we truly believe that we can succeed, whatever we do, we'll overcome it, then we're going to have a far greater chance of success than if we truly believe, oh, everything I do is destined to fail, so what's the point? We've got our attitudes. We've got time and space makes a difference. I don't mean traveling in the TARDIS, although that would be fun. But what I mean is, if something is happening here and now, it has more importance to us than something that's happening perhaps far away or long ago. And even language. I don't mean speak French or German, you'll get different results. What I mean is, any field of specialization has its own jargon. If you were to hand Warren Buffett and me the same set of company financial reports, he would glean far more information out of it than I would. He'd be able to tell where the company came from, what it's doing. He'd be able to tell what was going to happen in the future for the company. Me, I might figure out if they're making money or not, and that would be about it. Because he understands the language so much more, he gets more the filters pass more stuff through. That's why he's a fabulously wealthy investor. Me, not so much. So we got all these filters. They filter what comes through, just like when you're in your search engine, you type something in, that's the results you get. It filters everything else out. Can we change these filters? Well, we can, and we often do without even thinking about it. Let me give you a trivial example of that. A number of years ago, I watched a film, 28 Days Later. Pretty good film, entertaining. Didn't really know who any of the cast were. Enjoyed the film. A few years later, my all-time favorite sci-fi program came back. Yes, Doctor Who finally came back to TV. And this time, the Doctor, the main character, was played by an actor called Christopher Eccleston. He did a good job. Really enjoyed it. A couple of years later still, I decided to watch 28 Days Later again because I fancy watching it. Well, look at that. Christopher Eccleston's in 28 Days Later. Wow. Did they suddenly put Christopher Eccleston in between me watching it first time and second time? No, he was always there. It's just he wasn't relevant, had no relevance to me. So it didn't twig. My mind didn't go, oh, look, it's Christopher Eccleston. Who? Second time I watched it, this was an actor who had some relevance. And so my mind spotted it, made the connection. That's what happens when we change our filters. We change how we perceive the world. We spot things that have always been there. We just never realized it because we weren't really looking for them. Whether that's opportunities for success, whether that's more helpful ways to eat in a more healthy manner, whether it's ways to be more confident, to step out on stage and speak to hundreds of people and to enjoy it. We can change these filters. Sometimes we do it accidentally. Sometimes we can do it with a bit of brute force. Or this is where people like me come in. I've helped thousands of people around the world to do this using NLP, hypnosis, and coaching to help people realize this is what I want. Let's figure out what's going on inside. Let's change your focus, change what you're filtering for, change what your mind's throwing away, change what your mind is focusing on. You get better results. For example, spider. If you take a spider from being something that causes you to freak out at just the thought of it, turn that into something that has no relevance to you, you'll walk on by spiders without even noticing. If you take your success as being something that's of higher importance to you, you filter for it a lot more, you will create more of that success. So we are who we are because of how we've been brought up, because of everything that we've learned. That doesn't mean we can't change. In fact, that's the only thing we can do is change. Change is inevitable. Sometimes change is accidental, but you get much more powerful change when you take control of that change. So when you take control of that change under guidance, whatever way works best for you, take control of that change and you take back control of your life and you get far better results accordingly. So that's why you are who you are. And the good news is, yes, you absolutely can change if you truly want to. That's all I wanted to share with us for now. Thank you very much.